These football clubs found powerful and creative ways to commemorate the 80th anniversary of World War II and the remarkable stories of how their towns were liberated. NAC Breda paid tribute to a defining chapter in the city's history, marking 80 years since Breda's liberation by Polish forces in World War II with a series of commemorative jerseys. The campaign honoured General Stanislaw Maciek's 1st Polish Armoured Division, which liberated Breda on October 29, 1944. The 3 specially designed kits told a layered story of remembrance, community, and enduring friendship. The home shirt retained NAC's traditional yellow, but featured a bold black sash bearing the names of 40 Polish soldiers who died liberating the city, a striking visual roll of honour. The away kit, in white, incorporated faded archival images of Breda citizens welcoming Polish troops, subtly woven into the fabric. The 3rd kit, unveiled in late October, was grey and featured a monochrome photo of a friendly match played in early 1945 between Polish soldiers and NAC players. Among the players was Alfred Freddy Wieleszek, a Polish soldier who would later play for NAC and become a decorated honorary city at Breda. His inclusion captured the human bond between Liberator and the city. The historical backdrop of the kits was deeply meaningful. Maciek's division encircled Breda and avoided heavy artillery, aiming to liberate the city with minimal civilian casualties or structural damage. It was both a military success and a humanitarian one. Breda's gratitude was enduring. Over 160 Polish graves lie in the city's military cemetery, and roughly 350 Polish soldiers settled in Breda after the war. Wieleszek became a beloved figure, his legacy now stitched into NAC's colours. The club worked closely with the Maciek Memorial Breda and designers to craft kits rich in symbolism. NAC's motto, "Never give up, always preserve," appeared in the collar of the home shirt. On the away version, it was translated into Polish, bridging language and memory. In the lead up to the anniversary, NAC integrated the kits into a series of commemorative events. The 3rd grey kit, limited to 1,200 jerseys, sold out immediately. During a match in October, players wore the special kits and the stadium became a living memorial. The Polish national anthem played before kickoff, and 100-year-old captain Juliusz Niedzielski, one of the last surviving veterans of the liberation, took the ceremonial kickoff to thunderous applause.
I barely remember anything of what we did, because my orders were to drive my tank. The lieutenant sat at top, and he would tell me where to go through the intercom, left, right, ahead or back. I was basically blind. I could not see where I was going. They were guiding me. It's difficult to explain to people what I remember from the war. I only remember driving my tank.
Fans unfurled a tifo bearing the word "We Remember," with each letter filled with wartime imagery and photos of Polish liberators. The display was flanked by Polish and Dutch flags, visually tying the city's past and present together in a single stirring tribute. But NAC's initiative was more than just a visual tribute. It was an educational and emotional campaign. Players and staff visited local schools with education materials about the Polish division's role. Descendants of Polish veterans stood alongside the squad during the ceremonies, while current Polish players participated in tributes. The 3rd kit, worn once and auctioned for veterans charities, has since become a collector's item and is slated for display at the Maciek Museum. Fans flooded social media with personal stories and families' photos, many tracing the roots back to that Liberation Day. NAC's campaign became a model of how sport can preserve memory, not just commemorating freedom, but embodying it in fabric and tradition. SC Cambuur released a special edition jersey honouring the Royal Canadian Dragoons, the unit that helped liberate Leia Warden on April 15, 1945. Created for the 80th anniversary of the city's liberation, the kit marked a bold departure for Camburr's traditional yellow and blue, instead donning the red and white of the Canadian flag. The jersey was a masterclass in symbolic design. Maple leaf red dominated the shirt, crossed diagonally by the white sash inspired by the scarlet tunics and white cross belts of 1940s Canadian Army dress uniforms. A subtle cascade of dark red maple leaves, outlined faintly in black, covered the fabric, turning the pattern into a quiet yet powerful nod to Canada's national emblem. And at the back of the neck, the Dragoons regimental badge, a golden springbok antelope, honoured the very unit that had rolled into Leeuwarden 8 decades earlier. Camburr completed the look with black shorts bearing yellow side stripes, another nod to dress trousers, and solid black socks evoking the tall boots of World War II armoured troops. The historical backdrop was equally poignant. In April 1945, with German occupation forces crumbling, the Royal Canadian Dragoons advanced rapidly into Friesland. Dutch resistance fighters in Leeuwarden launched preemptive attacks on German positions, helping clear the way for the Canadians. When the Dragoons arrived on April 15th, they were met not with gunfire but jubilation. Crowds lined the streets, church bells rang, and the long shadow of 5 years of occupation marked by famine, forced labour and deportations began to lift. Camburr's tribute kit brought this memory vividly to life, and the public responded with overwhelming enthusiasm. The initial run of 800 jerseys sold out in an hour. Soon orders poured in from across the Netherlands and Canada. Veterans' families, collectors and history enthusiasts all wanted a piece of the tribute. One of the most touching responses came from Trooper Jim Parks, a 100-year-old Canadian veteran who had served in the Netherlands campaign. Parks, the last living soldier involved in the liberation of Leeuwarden, sent a WhatsApp video to Camburr simply saying, "Good job." His appearance in the Camburr's promotional video, saluting in uniform, became a centerpiece of the campaign.
People of soccer club Cambuur. This is Jim Parks speaking. You may recognize my voice from the video where the Canada Liberation shirt was presented. I'm very proud by this tribute and all the kind messages. I think it is great that you are celebrating 80 years of freedom today, and especially that you are honoring and remembering my fallen comrades. It is important that we continue to fight for freedom. So thank you for this beautiful gesture, and I hope to see you soon. Go get 'em, Leeuwarden.
The kit was worn in Camburr's home match against Vitesse Arnhem on April 25, 2025, a fitting opponent, as Vitesse is also known for World War II tributes. That day, Leeuwarden Stadium became a theatre of remembrance. Before kickoff, vintage World War II vehicles rolled around the pitch, Allied flags waved, and the Dutch and Canadian national anthems played in succession, followed by a minute's silence. Veterans stood on the sidelines, medals gleaming. PEC Zwolle honoured one of World War II's most astonishing liberation stories with a commemorative kit marking the 80th anniversary of Leon Major's heroic act, the Quebecois soldier who single-handedly liberated Zwolle on the night of April 13-14, 1945. Breaking from their traditional blue and white kit, the 2025 kit featured vertical stripes of claret, red and navy blue, the ribbon colours of Major's Distinguished Conduct Medal. Instead of the usual crest, the city of Zwolle's coat of arms was displayed on the chest, signalling this was a tribute from the whole community. The history behind it is the stuff of legend. With German troops still occupying Zwolle in April 1945, Major, 23, volunteered for a night mission to assess enemy strength. After his comrade was killed, Major pressed on alone. That night, he captured a German scout and used him to trick a garrison into surrender. He tossed grenades and set fires to simulate a large-scale attack, eliminated small enemy groups, and spread confusion by commandeering a German vehicle. His actions forced the Germans to retreat, liberating Zwolle without a single street battle. For this astonishing feat, Major received the Distinguished Conduct Medal, one of only a few Canadians to earn it twice, the second for bravery in the Korean War. In Zwolle, Major is revered. He visited often, became an honorary citizen, and has a street named after him. When he died in 2008, the city mourned him as a saviour. The 2025 Liberation match honoured both the man and the broader liberation story. PEC worked with the city, the Canadian Embassy, and historical societies to host the event. Major's family was flown in from Canada for their first ever visit, and local media followed their emotional journey to the sites of Major's actions. The match fell on Sunday, April 13th, just shy of the actual anniversary. Before kickoff, both Dutch and Canadian national anthems were performed by military bands, and a column of veterans entered the pitch, laying wreaths of poppies and orange flowers. The stadium fell silent and Major's story was recounted. Zwolle's 14,000-seat stadium was transformed into a place of remembrance, draped in flags and enormous banners. The south stand displayed a towering tifo, the silhouette of a lone soldier with a rifle and eye patch, Leo Major, against the city skyline. Each September, Vitesse Arnhem transforms its home ground into a place of solemn remembrance. The occasion is the Airborne Wedstrijd, a fixture dedicated to the British and Polish paratroopers who fought in the ill-fated Battle of Arnhem in 1944, part of Operation Market Garden. This tribute has grown from a moderate moment of silence to one of the most meaningful commemorative matches in European football. Vitesse's connection to this history runs deep. Arnhem was devastated during the battle, and the club's former stadium was occupied by German troops and later destroyed. Club members lived through the occupation and liberation, and in the post-war years, the bond between Arnhem and its liberators only deepened. By the early 2000s, Vitesse began formally commemorating the battle with an annual tribute match. Since 2007, this tradition has been a yearly fixture of the football calendar in Arnhem. The airborne match kits diverge dramatically from Vitesse's usual yellow and black. Instead, they adopt the claret and sky blue of the British 1st Airborne Division, the Red Berets. Prominently featured is the PEC's emblem, the same winged horse worn by Allied troopers in 1944. Some kits have included silhouettes of the John Frost Bridge, a bridge too far, and a topographical map of Arnhem and Oosterbeek woven subtly into the design. In 2024, they had images of the paratroopers dropping from their planes, and given that it was the 80th anniversary, this kit was the official away kit for the entire season. Inscriptions, lest we forget, were stitched in the inside of the collars. Operation Market Garden was a daring attempt by the Allies to seize a corridor of bridges in the Netherlands to outflank German defences and end the war by Christmas. On September 17, 1944, British and Polish airborne units landed near Arnhem. Despite fierce resistance from German panzer divisions and delays in ground reinforcements, the 1st Airborne Division held out for 9 days. Ultimately, the mission failed, resulting in almost 2,000 Allied deaths and over 6,500 captured. Arnhem remained under German control. Bravery of the airborne troops, however, left a lasting impression on the Dutch, especially in Arnhem, where their sacrifice is still honoured. The airborne match is more than symbolic. Vitesse invites remaining veterans, their families, and dignitaries from Britain, Poland, and Canada to attend. Before kickoff, the stadium is adorned with maroon banners, historical placards, and Pegasus flags. A lone bulgar plays the last post, and moments of silence are held. Often, bagpipers lead players into the field, followed by a wreath-laying ceremony. In 2019, 120 Royal British Legion members performed a halftime medley of wartime music, transforming the match into a living memorial. Supporters embraced the tradition with fervour. One year, fans unveiled a massive tifo of the Pegasus insignia. In another, they displayed a banner reading, "Never forget our heroes." These gestures are appreciated not only by home fans, but by visiting supporters as well, who recognise the universal importance of remembrances.